first speaker of today, Dr. Arunabh Singh. I have seen in the school, he is doing wonders in a small campus of 1.5 acre. I don't know how 54 classrooms have been created, but I have observed we must learn to use every inch, every centimeter of the space available, the vertical, horizontal, in every fashion. Dr. Arunabh Singh is passionate educationist. He can I just let me change just he is really a passionate educationist, entrepreneur, heading, of course, the Nehru World School. His father has another school set of schools. His mother was also a principal and a different principal. Other day he was sharing. When English teacher will come, she will stand. So he used to ask, Mummy, you are principal, how come you are standing? She will reply, I'm not standing as a principal. I honor educational knowledge he has. So I respect that knowledge, the kind of value system he had from the family. And now his school is having 100% fees, 100% payment to the entire staff, no attrition. So Dr. Arunabh Singh, alumni of King's College London, Hindu College Delhi University, he is chairman of FICCI Arise for UP West and also a member of British Council. He is ambassador for that. He frequently participates in TV debates, speaks on various national international forums across the globe, and we see a lot many webinars in the public domain. So real passionate, innovative, technology savvy, entrepreneurship is his cup of tea, igniting young minds and doing a wonderful job.
Thank you for inviting me. And जब मैंने वो आपका flyer देखा and I read about the work that fellow speakers here have done, I genuinely felt that there is so much more to learn from this forum than to actually share the very little footprint that we have in Ghaziabad city. And Professor Samanta को सुनने के बाद तो और भी this thought kind of fortifies the kind of work that he's done and still how he stays grounded. Dr. Arun Prakash, I have also had the opportunity to see that assembly live one day. British Council was doing a program in Bhubaneswar that we were heading, and they invited us. It was absolutely magical. So your story certainly inspire करती हैं. In the next 20 or so minutes, I will share some bits that we have done, some solutions that we have found out for problems that are contextually ours. So the next 20-25 minutes may be complete waste of your time. I apologize in advance. But I can only share what we have done. And so I will try to share my screen now. And as I'm speaking, if there are questions that you have on that particular aspect, please feel free to unmute yourself and ask a question. I'd be happy to share my understanding of that. Okay. Right. Can you see my screen now?
Sure.
Right. So, like I was saying earlier, Dr. Singh has already spoken everything that I had to speak. So I actually can say, thank you very much. Have a good day. But I joined the school in 2006, and my parents made sure that I did everything in the school that was possibly it could have been done, from being a bus conductor to the substitution teacher to a subject teacher, doing school productions, leading kids on trip, the basketball team. So pretty much every flavor. And for the first 6-7 years, I really didn't have an office of my own in the school. So I think their understanding was fairly clear. My mother used to say, and she still says so, that if you can't do everything that happens in your school, then you can't run a school. So she was very clear on that, and as a result, I got an opportunity to experience various facets of running the school. For the past about 5 years now, I am the principal and the director of the school. The slide shows what we've been doing. We are primarily an academic institution with a fairly strong co-curricular, but this would be our a strong pillar of what we do. I am really blessed to work with a team of teachers that makes this possible and allows me to share a slide like this in a forum like this. So we this year we were CBSE result. Our average was 91.03%, which was our highest ever, and which was also the highest ever for a day school in Uttar Pradesh. I will share some bits of how I think we got here, and also share how we've tried to use that small 1.5 acre of space for the best of our students. So, okay, if it allows me to go forward, right. So our basic data is, like Sir said, we are 1.5 acres of a campus. We have 54 classrooms in our facility. We have 1,550 students on our campus, and we charge a fees of 11,000 rupees from nursery to grade 12. That's the same fee, with our logic being that this is one seat in the school, and we would not want you to have different gears. It just is simpler for parents to budget the learning experience for their child as they come into the school. And we've been in Shastrinagar, Ghaziabad, which is a residential area. And our student base primarily comes from middle class families, and where the value of education exists, and there is aspiration and understanding that education will lead to social mobility, economic mobility, and like Dr. Samanta said, the third eye of wisdom is perhaps something that we can aspire for education to give to us. That is actually my main slide. We have a firm belief that a school cannot be better than the quality of teachers in the school. I repeat it. We firmly believe a school cannot be better than the quality of teachers in the school. So our focus since the last 5 years has been on how do we empower our teachers more, how do we skill them more, and how do we motivate them more. And I'm very happy to share that we've reached a stage where our WhatsApp group of the school teachers, it's called NWS Family. So the logic is that nobody is working for anybody else. We're all working together to make sure that we do our very best for children in our care. And I remember this saying I heard a long time back, that often school promoters don't spend money in teachers' training, for they fear what will happen if I train the teacher and the teacher leaves. What they should be scared more of is, imagine a scenario that you did not train and the teacher stayed. So our backbone of our growth has been we've empowered teachers and we've trained teachers, and we've tried to improve our staff welfare over the years. So some years back, we came to a situation where every teaching staff on our payrolls was getting 7th pay commission salaries. It was understood that as soon as you complete your first year in the school, you go to 7th pay commission across PRT, TGT, PGT wing, and which I felt was the bare minimum that a school should be doing. Because the expectation that a system has from the teacher now, if this teacher was in banking or in finance, this teacher would have already been making like 5-6 times, because she needs excellent public relations skills. She needs to be an excellent psychologist, a counselor. She needs to have subject knowledge. She needs to, now in the last 7 months, she needs to know computing better than I do. And she's actually, and I'm just using she, I am also representing he. they're also there and equally committed to the field of education. So if you go on our school website, in the download section, you would see a list of all the trainings that we have done. Now, I know that system requires us to do 3 trainings a day. I think we had 54 of those last year. They run in 7 pages. We give details of what did we train ourselves on, who did the training, how long did the training last, and what were our key learning outcomes. So that has been the main milestone that we've tried to improve upon every year. When we came into the pandemic, we were faced with a situation of what do we do, where the fees was not coming and salaries were due. So as a school management, we took a call that even if this is going to require more loans from the bank, we are going to make sure that we keep paying salaries to the teachers because they have responsibilities of their own. And especially the work the teachers were doing, it was all the more reason for us to come true on the promise that we had made to them. So I'm happy to share we've been able to continue doing that. Nobody got laid off in the pandemic, and everybody's been getting their 100% salaries. But I must also say here that everybody has also been putting in 200% of work. Even if I, as a teacher, had 15 years of experience of teaching in a classroom, I was a fresher teaching from a computer screen. So the weight that teachers have pulled off across the world is something that teachers should get due credit of. And I don't think that is happening in the society just yet. With the tug of war that is happening between parents and schools around fees, that effort that is being put in by teachers is somewhere getting lost. And now I hope that our government and our civil society recognizes that work that has been put in. These are, I believe, the main thing that a school management can actually do is to let teachers work. They know what they're doing. We need to get them to be passionate about what they're doing and understand the big responsibility that they have. So they touch at least 300 lives every day. And if you've got a committed team, then 90% of the school management's work is done. We are opening back, schools are opening back now. And while there is a huge narrative around what happens to the student health, my question also is what happens to the teacher's health? She's meeting actually 6 times more people than a child is meeting every day. And while we can't guarantee that nothing would happen, as a school, we've gone ahead and taken special covers, insurance covers for our teachers, or God forbid something happens to them, they are covered in the process as well. And I'm happy to share that we've not had a single teacher who would say, no, I'm not ready to come back into school. So this, to me, would be the biggest point that school promoters should look at. Our strength is the teacher body that we have, and we need to be honest and upfront with them. For our students, the 3 blocks primarily would be discipline is a non-negotiable. We are very old school. Somebody like me is standing on the school gate every morning. If it's not me, then it is the senior leadership of the school. And we are in 1970s on our school discipline code. So, which we feel is extremely important. Mr. Dua is laughing on it because I think he's probably remembering something more from 1970s that I'm not. I know what you're remembering, sir. But that is a non-negotiable across, and that is from the length and breadth of everybody who's at school. I also believe that at school we stress more on thinking and finding better questions than finding better answers. I will give you an example. I was walking through the corridors of a primary classroom a few months back now, and I noticed the teacher, it was a maths lesson going on, and the teacher had written on the board, it was one single question, and the question was, if the answer is 40, what is the question? And the entire class was busy writing the longest, most complex question to which the answer will be 40. And I thought, oh, wow, that's a brilliant way to engage all of them. She's gamified this. People often ask, how do you ask open questions in mathematics? Well, here is an answer. Where if the answer is 40, what is the question? So a lot of our teacher training that we do is to get teachers to ask better questions to students. And more than that, get students to ask better questions to themselves and to their teachers. Let's not forget, it takes one fertile, worthwhile question for a Nobel Prize. Dr. Dua has a question. Do you have a question, sir?
No, sir, it's an observation. If you take away all my points, what am I going to speak?
I can stop now.
Please
Oh, no. Thank you, sir. Thank you. So question is something that we've been stressing on, and the other one is problem solving. And I will give you one example of how we've tried to do better problem solving for our students. So we've been running entrepreneurship program in the school. And the expectation is that every child from grade 1 onwards has to run a business alongside doing their own education. So how this works for us is, and there is a worldwide organization called Teach a Man to Fish. This idea was actually inspired by one of their ideas that we were participating in. So what we do is in April, every child gets a form which says, present your business idea. And here are some things that are forbidden. For example, you can't be running a lottery. You can't be running a business that has food or drinks or anything that can be hazardous to you or to other kids in the class. So every child submits a business plan. We vet it and give them an approval. And then they need to submit a business idea, which would have all the details that. And this is when they go back to their homes for summer breaks, the extended summer break that most of us have. And the expectation is that when they would come back after the summer break, all these kids whose business plans were approved will come back with a prototype of what they are going to make. So if they had decided, I am going to be making a robot and selling it, then where is your prototype? At this stage, they will first sell their ideas to their classroom. And the classroom will eventually choose one idea that they are going to invest their time in for the rest of the year. Once this idea has been fixed, the school will now fund this classroom 20,000 rupees. To say, here is the money, the startup capital. So you don't go back and ask your parents for money, and you don't have to crowdsource that money at the start of your business. This, I feel, really gets the program going. My children are here. Ojasvi, I'm in a meeting. Can you please shut the door and go? Thank you. So, so the school puts in the money, and parents don't have to then spend money on the chart paper and buying supplies. Within the classroom, they're doing it. And some of you might be thinking, grade 1 is too early for this. No. Grade 1 is not too early for this. I was in on one of the PTM days. They had set up their shops, and I was in the classroom for a grade 1 student, and I asked him, "Hello, how are you today?" And he says, "Sir, I am fine, but you tell me, what do you want to buy today?" So he was very clear with his logic that today I have to sell things here, and they come up with some really interesting ideas. There was a grade 4 classroom where there was a Sikh boy whose idea was, we are going to buy a shoe polish and shoe brush, and we're going to polish shoes. It has got very low input capital, and we are going to make tons of money. Everybody's shoes needs polishing. And the entire classroom said, okay, fine, this is a good idea. We are going to be polishing shoes. It was unfortunate that the parent body wasn't prepared for a business like this. But they started giving us calls and saying, no, our kids are not going to be polishing shoes. How I wish the dignity of labor in our society had come to that level that boy's idea could actually see light of the day. They eventually had to resign to washing cars, which was more acceptable. Somehow people feel the cars are less dirty than their shoes are. So school puts in money. Their students run their business. In December, they will put their balance sheet out. If it is a profit balance sheet, they will decide what they will do with the profit, and they will return the capital, the initial capital, back to the school. If they have made a loss, they will make a loss balance sheet and give the rest of the money back to the school. And the school will not ask for money that they have lost. And then we do several awards. If any one of you listening in is interested in this, there is a 29-page doc that we have made from the everything that one needs to run this program. I'd be very happy to share it with you so that your children can benefit from this as well. The last time when we did it, there were a total of 41 businesses. 36 of them had made money. And I think they had made about ROI of 34% on their businesses, which is better than any business that I know. And the learning that came out of it was phenomenal. We also saw children who, before this program, were not as active in the classroom, had now found their pace and their space in the classroom, and their grades had actually increased as well. There is one more way in which we are getting kids to solve their problems. I'd also shared, this is the last slide that I have today. I'd shared that we are a 1.5-acre campus. So space, every square feet of space is a challenge for us. So there are some of these examples that I've shared here. The top left are these mobile laptop labs. What we did a few years back was we converted one of our computer rooms into a lab like this. This is actually the first one that we got. This is much bigger. Now we've been able to optimize the space that we need inside, and the labs now are half of it, while they still have enough computers to work for a classroom. So our logic was that we are going to take out one computer lab, put a classroom there, and now that cost center of a computer lab has become a revenue center of a classroom. The revenue that this classroom generates, we are going to buy a computer lab for the school every year. We started this 9 years back. We now have 9 computer labs in the school. Every year, we get a new facility. Not a single laptop has been lost from this. And how this works is they're just standing freely in the corridor. Whenever a classroom needs it, they would drag this trolley to their class. Students would distribute laptops among themselves like notebooks, use it, and put them back, and they're charging in the central corridor. Not a single laptop lost, not a single laptop broken. And it has been running like super easy. It has no maintenance for us anymore. The bottom left, this playground that you're seeing, this is a half of the 12,000 square feet of playground space that we've created on top of one of the school buildings. So this is a national turf. It's also been around for 10 years. And this has now been converted into the primary playground. So it has 2 mini football pitches and a cricket net and a few other things. And primary kids actually love this space much better than they like the playground on the ground floor. The bottom right is a classroom library. So we have a very strong reading program in the school, where we strongly feel that if children are better at reading from the start, and it is a habit that they have grown up with, then a lot of other challenges that we face in the curriculum are not going to come. So we've now been running this very strong reading program for about 5 years. And every classroom till grade 8 now has a library of its own, which has books kept out just like are visible in this photograph. So there is no concept of locking teaching aids. There is like Dr. B. Singh had shared a photograph of our physics lab. It's available somewhere on the internet. If you look at that photograph again, that lab has not been provisioned with any locks. We felt our total wear and tear yearly is much lesser than the cost of the locks that we would put there. Plus, that is not something that we want to teach our kids. So our labs don't have an issue register, and they don't have locks, and we don't lose anything. So there's a fantastic student population and ethos that we've been able to build. So what is happening in the classroom library is that it would have as many books as the number of students in that class. It would be left open like this, and students are to pick up a book, take it home, read it, put it back, pick up another book. So they're not needing to wait for that one library period once a week like many of us had to. And there were times when the librarian was absent, and now your library period would come in 2 weeks. And I also went to a school where all the interesting glossy books with pictures were put in the reference section, and you couldn't issue them. And so we don't have a book in our library that can't be issued. If you can't issue it, don't keep it in the library. That's our logic. We are not a 100-year-old library where we have a book that is out of print now that needs to be taken care of. So if there is a book in the library, it has to get issued. So these are some small things that we're doing. The top right photograph is an indoor play area that we developed a couple of years back, with the logic being that we stay very close to Delhi. I shouldn't blame Delhi. We stay in UP in a city called Ghaziabad, where there are times of the year, like right now, where the pollution is so much that you can't be taking children out. So we've created these indoor play spaces where children can be still at least be physically active, even if they are not out in the playground. So if ever you're crossing Ghaziabad, please feel free to come and visit us. But my request is, visit us before you visit Gurukul School. It's the same as, I would have liked to speak before KIIT, where this would have looked, fantastic. So I'm quite looking forward to what Sachin Vats has to share as well. I've been to his school; they've done fantastic work, and we, at least I tend to learn from a lot of work that they do. So this, in a nutshell, is stuff that we've been doing in the school, and the result that you saw earlier. I'm happy to share our 3-year plan with a very sincere belief that we have, that you can't change anything in a school in 1 year. There has to be a 3-year or a 5-year plan, and we need to have patience to stick with that plan and say, we are right, we've navigated ourselves in the right space, and we are going to give this time. We are going to give our teachers time. And Sir also talked about the NEP earlier. My very brief point on the NEP would be, we need to get the teacher in the center of this entire planning exercise. Our last national education policy was a brilliant document as well. If you still read it, it looks like it is light years ahead, and we were not able to implement half of it. I fear we will not be able to implement half of the new education policy as well if we don't put the teacher in the center of that planning document, and we don't put our money in public education and support organizations like the duas are running, like KIIT is running, where people who don't have access are specially being approached for education. So that's our few pence. And sorry, Dr. Dua, if all the ideas that I'm sharing have already been used by you, so I wasted some of your time. But it has been a pleasure, sharing this with this audience. Thank you.
So not only it has been implemented, it's done in a better way. So that's again is a problem. Excellent work, guys. Excellent work done.
Thank you, sir. Thank you.
Wonderful, friends. Please have a look on one of the program, Teaching Diaries. I think there are 30 Talking Diaries. 30 episodes are there. And every time a new expert is interacting with the children of all the age groups. I think there is always mixed age group.
Yes, sir. So from KG to grade 12, our idea essentially was that, if I can come on a platform like WebEx and speak my mind, then why can't the students do so? So rather than us giving students, this is what you should be thinking, the idea was, let us bring students on the platform and hear what they are thinking. So we've been getting experts doing different things in their life, and then asking research on these people and ask them questions. And so I think that has been quite a hit with students. There was a person that we had with special needs. The person was deaf, and there was somebody who was translating it. And the kind of understanding that students developed from that experience, or again, there was another person who was from Khalsa Aid, and they talked about what Khalsa Aid has been doing, and the question that students had. We've had chefs, we've had doctors and engineers and pilots, and somebody who was researching on spider web, and that session was actually amongst the longest. So again, the simple idea was we need to get kids to think more and ask better questions, and half the problems of our world would be solved. Thank you.